there are very few auditions that people still remember years later. Alice Fredenham's was one of them. A shy beauty therapist walked onto the Britain's Got Talent stage looking terrified. Her hands shook. She could barely look at the judges. Then she opened her mouth to sing, and the entire room fell silent. Millions believed they were watching the birth of Britain's next music superstar. But just a few years later, she had almost disappeared from the spotlight. So what really happened to Alice Fredenham after Britain's Got Talent? The truth is far more surprising than most people realize. Before we uncover the full story, here's something I'd love to know. If you had one chance to change your life forever, would you take it even if you were terrified? Let me know in the comments because Alice faced that exact choice. Long before television audiences knew her name, Alice lived a very ordinary life in England. She worked as a beauty therapist and spent most of her days far away from bright lights and cheering crowds. Friends described her as kind and gentle, but also painfully shy. Singing was always her passion, yet confidence was something she struggled to find. That fear had already cost her once. Before appearing on Britain's Got Talent, Alice had auditioned for The Voice UK. She failed to make it through. For many people, that would have been the end of the dream. But somewhere inside, she refused to give up completely. In 2013, she decided to try one more time. Walking onto the Britain's Got Talent stage, she looked so nervous that even the judges noticed. Simon Cowell asked if she was all right. Alice admitted she was extremely nervous, and it was easy to believe her. It felt like every word was difficult to say. Then came the moment nobody expected. She began singing My Funny Valentine. Within seconds, the audience stopped whispering. Amanda Holden smiled. Alicia Dixon looked amazed. Even Simon Cowell, famous for his tough criticism, watched quietly as Alice's soft, smoky voice filled the theater. The performance quickly became one of the most talked-about auditions of the season. Viewers praised not only her beautiful voice but also the emotion behind every note. Clips of the audition spread across YouTube and social media, reaching millions of people around the world. Major news outlets covered her story, and interviews after the show revealed just how overwhelmed she felt by the sudden attention. It seemed that a brand new star had arrived. But while the world celebrated Alice's incredible beginning, almost no one realized that her biggest challenge was still waiting just around the corner. For a while, it felt like Alice Fredenham's life had changed forever. Her audition wasn't just popular in Britain. It spread across the world. Millions of people watched it online, calling it one of the most beautiful performances ever seen on Britain's Got Talent. Fans compared her gentle voice to jazz legends and praised the emotion she brought to every lyric. Newspapers, entertainment shows, and music blogs all shared the same question. Had Britain just discovered its next great singer? The pressure grew almost overnight. Every performance after that audition came with huge expectations. People didn't just want Alice to sing well. They wanted her to recreate the magic they had felt during those first unforgettable minutes. That is a difficult challenge for any artist, especially someone who had spent most of her life battling stage fright. But Alice kept going. Week after week, she performed in front of millions of viewers. Even though she remained nervous, audiences admired her honesty. She wasn't trying to be loud or flashy. She simply stood on stage and let her voice tell the story. Then came a moment that surprised many fans. Alice did not win Britain's Got Talent. She reached the live semifinals but was eliminated before the final. While winners often receive the biggest headlines, many viewers believed Alice's career would continue anyway. After all, some of the show's biggest stars never actually won. And for a short time, that seemed true. After BGT, she signed with Sony Music and began working on professional recordings. It looked like the dream she had chased for years was finally becoming real. In interviews, Alice spoke about how grateful she was for the opportunity. She also admitted that fame felt overwhelming, something she was still learning to handle. But behind the scenes, the music industry was proving to be far more complicated than television. Recording an album is one thing. Building a lasting career is another. Thousands of talented singers compete for attention every year. Success depends on timing, promotion, record label decisions, changing music trends, and sometimes simple luck. Even incredible voices can struggle to stay in the spotlight. Still, Alice refused to stop singing. In 2017, she released her debut album, Under the Covers, featuring classic songs that matched her smooth jazz style. The album gave loyal fans exactly what they had hoped for, a chance to hear more of the voice that first captured their hearts. She also performed at intimate concerts and music venues, choosing smaller stages where she felt more comfortable connecting with audiences. Yet something was changing. The massive headlines that had followed her audition slowly faded. Social media moved on to the next viral star. New talent shows introduced fresh faces. The entertainment world, always hungry for something new, seemed to forget one of its most unforgettable additions. Many fans wondered the same thing. Why had someone with such an extraordinary voice quietly disappeared from mainstream attention? The answer wasn't as simple as people thought. It wasn't one bad decision or one dramatic scandal. Instead, it was a combination of personal struggles, industry realities, and a choice that few people saw coming. But what happened next almost changed the entire direction of Alice Fredenham's life. Before we reveal that turning point, make sure you subscribe because we uncover the stories that most people never hear, and Alice's next chapter is one of the most surprising. Most people expected Alice Fredenham to become a household name. She had the voice. She had millions of fans. She had a record deal. On paper, everything pointed toward a long career in the spotlight. But life doesn't always follow the path people expect. After releasing Under the Covers, Alice continued performing, but on a much smaller scale than many fans had imagined. Instead of selling out huge arenas or appearing on television every week, she chose intimate jazz clubs, local venues, and special live events. Those who attended often said the smaller settings suited her voice perfectly. They allowed her to connect with people in a way that big television stages never could. Still, one question refused to go away. Why wasn't she everywhere anymore? The answer begins with something Alice had spoken about long before Britain's Got Talent: her confidence. In interviews during and after the show, she openly admitted that performing in front of large audiences made her extremely nervous. While millions of viewers only saw a few minutes on television, they didn't see the emotional pressure behind the scenes. Every performance came with enormous expectations. People expected another magical moment every single time. That kind of pressure can be exhausting. According to interviews and reports from the time, Alice preferred focusing on music itself rather than chasing celebrity status. Unlike many reality TV contestants who constantly appeared in the media, she gradually stepped away from the spotlight. There were fewer interviews, fewer television appearances, and a much quieter public life. But that didn't mean she had stopped singing. She continued sharing music with loyal supporters and occasionally performed at live shows. Fans who discovered her through Britain's Got Talent kept following her journey, often leaving comments saying her original audition was still one of their favorites years later. Then came another surprise. As streaming services and social media completely changed the music industry, success looked very different from what it had just a few years earlier. New artists had to post constantly, promote themselves every day, and compete for attention in an endless stream of content. That simply wasn't Alice's style. Rather than chasing viral trends, she seemed to choose a slower, more private path. For some fans, this was disappointing because they believed her voice deserved much bigger stages. Others respected her decision, believing happiness matters more than fame. And maybe that's the biggest misunderstanding about reality television. Many people think appearing on a hit show guarantees a lifetime of success. In truth, talent shows open a door, but walking through that door is only the beginning. A lasting career depends on countless factors that audiences rarely see, from business decisions and marketing to personal priorities and mental well-being. If you've ever felt like your own dream isn't moving as fast as you hoped, Alice's story is a reminder that everyone's journey is different. Some victories happen in front of millions. Others happen quietly, away from the cameras. The world may only celebrate the biggest stars, but finding peace while doing what you love is a success that can't always be measured by headlines. And just when it seemed Alice had completely disappeared, fans started asking one final question. Where is Alice Fredenham today, and has she ever thought about making a full comeback? The answer may surprise you. For years, fans kept asking the same question. Whatever happened to Alice Fredenham? Unlike many reality TV stars who constantly post online or chase headlines, Alice chose a much quieter life. That decision made some people believe she had completely disappeared. But the truth is much different. Alice never stopped loving music. Over the years, she has continued to perform from time to time, especially at smaller live events where she can connect with audiences in a more personal way. She has also shared music with fans online, proving that her passion for singing never faded. While she may not release new projects as often as some hoped, her original Britain's Got Talent audition continues to introduce new listeners to her incredible voice every year. It's remarkable that a performance lasting only a few minutes is still watched by millions more than a decade later. That says something important. Some artists become famous because they release hit after hit. Others become unforgettable because they create one moment that people never forget. Alice belongs to that second group. Her journey also teaches an important lesson about fame. Television often makes success look simple. One great audition, one standing ovation, and suddenly your life is perfect. But real life isn't like that. Fame can disappear as quickly as it arrives. Cameras eventually stop rolling. Headlines move on. Then every artist must decide what really matters. For Alice, it seems the answer was never about becoming the biggest celebrity in Britain. It was about continuing to sing in a way that felt true to herself. That choice may not have made daily news, but it earned her something just as valuable: the respect of fans who admired her honesty from the very beginning. When people revisit her famous audition today, they don't just hear a beautiful voice. They remember a shy young woman who stood in front of millions despite overwhelming fear. That moment continues to inspire anyone who has ever doubted themselves. And maybe that's Alice Fredenham's greatest achievement. She showed the world that courage isn't the absence of fear. Sometimes courage is simply walking onto a stage while your hands are shaking and singing anyway. As one chapter quietly closed, another began. Alice may not have become the global superstar many predicted, but she found a path that reflected who she really was. In an industry that often rewards constant attention, choosing authenticity over fame is a rare kind of success. So the next time someone asks, "What happened to Alice Fredenham after Britain's Got Talent?" the answer is simple. She kept living her life, kept making music, and left behind one of the most unforgettable auditions in the history of the show. But Alice's story also raises a bigger question. How many talented people have we forgotten simply because they chose a quieter life? That question might change the way you look at fame forever.